Well, hello, Facebook Live. It's Dr. Kimberly. I just wanted to come on this morning. Hello, hello. I hope you all are having a grand Monday morning. I actually look forward to Mondays because I believe that Mondays actually are a fresh start to a new week. It's a fresh start to get things rocking and rolling in the way in which your vision is for the week and how you've established your goals. So I just wanted to come on this morning because we are just a few days away, literally 1 week away from the Discipline and Preparedness Intensive. And so hello, I can't see who's on. However, wave at me, say hello. I think I see Kendall. Hi there, Kendall. Good morning. Wanted to jump on and just share with you all that seeing is not believing. And oftentimes we will say that seeing is believing, but I wanted to come on and share with you that seeing is not believing. When you think about it this morning, seeing is revealing and seeing is confirming. So everything that you see and everything that you're shown, so your goals, your vision, your dreams, seeing is revealing. So when you see your goals, or when you can envision your goals, or you have a vision or a goal to accomplish something in your life, that is your ability to that is God's ability to confirm within you what he's showing you. So it's revealing to you what you would look like in your future. All right. So seeing is not believing. Believing. Good morning. Hey, Tony, Minister Senegal. Believing is actually planning, because planning is the highest form of faith that you can have. And oftentimes we will say, oh no, by faith, because of what you see, you believe it. But really, when you see something, it is revealing to you what your future self looks like. It reveals to you the potential in your actual. And in order for you to produce what you see in your dreams, in order for you to produce the vision that you know you have been created to accomplish, or to carry out the mission of your vision, you have to do more than see it. Seeing reveals and confirms, but believing is an act of planning. Believing is an action. So when you say that you believe in something, that means you carry out that ability to believe in your actions. So I'm encouraging those women and men who are out there who are ready to produce in their area of self-discipline. I want to encourage you that you have to go beyond just seeing. You have to go beyond the fact of I see it, because that gets you emotionally charged. That gets you excited about seeing it, but it does not put any action in order for you to produce what you see. So I want to let you know that believing is planning. I'll say this again. Planning is the highest form of faith that you can have, because when you actually take what you see, many of you have goals. You want to lose weight. You want to start a business. You want to start your ministry. You want to have your 501c3. Hello, Sarah from Canada. How are you? Thank you so much. Hello, Renee. Again, listen, we're right on the money here. And thank you all for joining. I'm telling you, when you think about it, you have goals, you have things that you want to accomplish, and we come up with different things that we have all these excuses about why we cannot accomplish it. So I'm just going to come on in this morning and encourage you. You need to sign up for the Discipline and Preparedness Intensive. It starts on Monday, July 8th. But let me tell you this. A couple of reasons why we lack self-discipline. There's a start and a stop. Are number one, fear, time, number two, and number three is your belief system. And so that's fear, time, and belief. We all know that people will say, well, I'm not afraid. But most of the time, it's a fear of the unknown, a fear of, if I start, will I continue? If I start this business, will it be successful? If I start the journey of losing weight, will I see the outcomes that I would like to see? If I start to develop professionally, will I get promoted? Is it worth it? Is my self-discipline worth it? But I want to tell you, your self-discipline is your system. It's the ability to pursue what you think is right, despite what's in front of you. It's your system that you put in place to actually accomplish the things that you see. So seeing is not believing. Seeing is revealing. Doing, planning is believing. Another thing I wanted to share with you this morning as well, and hopefully others will join us, I want to share with you 4 C's. These are some 4 C's I wanted to come on this morning and let you know. One is when you're talking about your self-discipline or being able to produce what you see, I want to give you 4 C's that you can walk away this morning and start to think about how you can eradicate and then how you can add one of them to your jewel box. Number 1 is comparison. First of all, comparison steals all joy. And people know that. For one, when you compare something, that means you are measuring that thing as equal or greater or less than. So it's either equal, greater, or less than. And so you're comparing yourself based on someone else's experience, based on someone else's knowledge, based on someone else's highlight reel, or even based on something that you do not know. So when you think about comparing yourself, that will keep you from your self-discipline. That'll keep you from producing what you see in your dreams. It'll keep you from actually walking out the steps to accomplish what your goals are. That's comparison, looking at other people's success, looking at other people's lifestyle, looking at other people's productivity, looking at their financial status, looking at their accolades, and you begin to now compare yourself and see yourself as greater, less than, or equal to. And so comparison impacts your ability to be self-disciplined, because then it comes to the next C, which is competition. Now, comparison and competing are 2 different things. When you compare, you have a measuring stick. You say, I'm comparing because I believe that this person is, or I am greater than, less than, or equal to. That impacts your ability to be consistent because you are now competing. That goes to C number 2. Competition that means you think you have a rival. That thing's not arrived, a rival, rival. That means you believe that someone now is your rival. You believe now that you are striving or gaining to win something. So you have to now defeat somebody else. And that is inconsistent with discipline, because discipline, as I told you, is the ability to pursue what you think is right, what you see in your dreams. It's your system. And regardless of any temptation, regardless of any distraction, regardless of anything you see, you're going to accomplish it. You will not abandon it. And that is your self-discipline. So comparison will take your ability to have that self-discipline to produce. And then also you'll begin to compete. You'll start competing, trying to do it like other people. You'll begin to start measuring comparison, and then rivaling. That means you're battling. And when I tell you, when you think of a battle, that means a fight. I want to encourage you to walk away this morning, not in competition with anyone, because when you compete, that means everything you're doing is in preparation to beat or defeat someone else. But your greatest competition is your vision. Your greatest competition is your goals. The greatest competition is you. And you need to be able to compete with yourself and win. And when you do that and you look at yourself every day and say, I'm going to compete with my ability to not be lazy today, or I'm going to compete with myself not to give up today, or I'm going to put some time blocks in my schedule today so that I can compete with myself and win. A competition implies that there will be a fight. A competition implies that there is a rival between you and someone else. That comes from the spirit of comparison, and it will rob you of your ability to be self-disciplined. Once we move into the competition now says, I am going to be inconsistent, because you are inconsistent because you're always looking and lurking to see what someone else is doing, and it's making you feel inadequate, or it's making you feel less than, or it's making you feel that you're not doing enough, when in fact you're doing, if you are in position of producing from a consistent place of self-discipline, you're producing on the level in which you see, on the level of your dreams. And so I want you to encourage you today. I want you to remember this. When you think about your self-discipline, you're talking about the spirit of comparison. It will rob you. Comparing, measuring, greater, less than, or equal to someone else's vision, someone else's destiny. Then I want you to think about competition, because comparison now fuels the competition. And then you begin to compete in an area that you weren't even in the first place. You start to compete from a lane that you weren't even in this race with this individual. You compete with yourself and win. You compete with your destiny. You compete with your vision. You wake up every morning. You say, I'm going to be more disciplined today than I was yesterday. I'm going to now fight my own flesh to be inconsistent. So when we do competition, now you're fighting consistency. And that's where many of us lack our ability to remain consistent. And consistency is our routine. It is the rigidity of when you're talking about the rigidness and you're thinking about, well, what is it? It's your regularity. How steady are you? How much continuity do you have between what you see, your vision, and what you do, your actions? See, consistency means I have continuity in what I believe, what I see, and what I do. And so when you're talking about discipline, you have to have continuity. You have to take a look at believing, meaning now planning. See, seeing is revealing, and I told you all this from the beginning. Seeing is revealing. Seeing is saying, God is confirming, what you're believing is what you see is now being confirmed, but believing is not seeing. Believing is doing. So therefore you have to begin to plan. Once you plan, you have to execute. There is a difference between planning and execution. Planning says, I'm going to write down the steps that it's going to take. I'm going to come up with a strategic plan of action. Then, once you have your strategy in place, you now have to be consistent. Many of us are inconsistent in our dealings, which then goes back to the spirit of competition and the spirit of comparison. So I'm trying to give you the methodology on how to become more disciplined with your goals, how to become more disciplined in your ministry. The reason you're not seeing the productivity, the reason why you're not seeing the profit, the reason why you're not seeing the fruit is because anytime you plant something and you do not consistently provide the nurturing that it needs, you do not consistently give that system what it needs to grow and to function. I want to encourage you. When I was in corporate America, I would always say form follows function, meaning what you do, it follows exactly that. So then it goes to, I don't want to get off, consistency. What is your ability to have continuity between what's being revealed to you, what you see, and then your belief, meaning planning. Once you believe that thing, you have to execute it. So I want to encourage you that consistency is tied to your comparison and your competition. Believe me. And when you begin to be consistent, you no longer have a spirit of comparison. People will share. It's easy. And I want to encourage you this morning because it is easy to compare yourself to someone else. I'm not talking from a spirit of a place of it's never happened to me. The reason why I'm telling you this is because it has. I've looked at other people in the marketplace. I've looked at other women when I was in corporate America and men in the work that they do. And I'm like, wow, I don't have that. Well, that is one of the tricks of the enemy, is to show you something that looks different than what you have so that your thing can look less than and someone else can look greater than. Now you're comparing. Now you're competing. Now you're inconsistent and you can't produce from a place of purpose. So there we are, 4 C's, and I want you all to write them in there. If you hear me, the number one thing is comparison. That's measuring. Greater, less, or equal to. Then it drives competition, means you have a rival. You're trying to now defeat someone. You're trying to now rival someone. You're now trying to outdo someone, which takes you out of your course of being consistent because you're not now living out your destiny. You're fighting for theirs. So I want you to move from a spirit of comparison and competition into consistency, because when you lack consistency, you lack a system that's going to help you with your continuity. Then last is complacency. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to come on and tell you, complacency is not necessarily saying you're doing nothing. Let's be very clear. Complacency says that I am okay with where I am. And the reason I know that many of us lack discipline or a system of self-discipline is because we are complacent. We're not hurting. We're not losing oxygen because we're not producing and pursuing our dreams and goals. And when you have complacency, you're okay with your situation. You have self-satisfaction and you eating every day. Your bills are paid, or at least they're going to be paid because your check coming soon. But you have a place you're in a spirit of complacency. You're okay. Nothing's too wrong and nothing's, too right. Everything's okay. Like you're good. Like you're better. Again, comparison. I'm doing better than most. And I told you comparison keeps you from producing self-discipline in a way that can help you meet your highest and best self, because you'll begin to compare yourself to others. What did we say? The only person you should be competing with is your destiny. And so when you think about your system of discipline, many of us are here complacent. I'm doing better than most. I'm okay with my current situation. But here's the deal. If you look up the definition of self-discipline and you look up the definition of complacency, self-discipline is the ability to pursue the thing that is right, the thing that you see, the thing that you want, despite temptations to abandon it, despite distractions, despite family and friends pulling on you, despite your feelings, despite everything that you think and see in front of you, despite not having money. And you want to be able to look at that thing and say, I have a system in place that I have continuity between what I see and what I believe. Seeing is revealing and confirming what I have and what is in my future. See, when you have a vision or you have a goal or you have something in your heart that's pressing on you and you say, I have to live this thing out. I have to work on my business. I have to work on my ministry. I have to work on losing weight. I have to work on my book. See, now you have a vision. Now you have a goal, which then is you're seeing it. It's revealed to you. It's confirming to you, but it's not something you believe. When you plan is your highest form of faith. It now is your belief system, and your system of belief now has to move into your self-discipline system of continuity and consistency. Then we have to replace the complacency, because complacency says I'm good. I ain't doing bad. I'm not doing too bad. I'm all right. I'm not where I used to be. And that's the biggest cop out. When people say I'm not where I used to be, that's the biggest cop out, is I'm not where I used to be. Well, you ain't where you're going either. And you're not what you see. And so I want to tell you, the last part of complacency says is that you are self-satisfied with your situation. You are self-satisfied with your accolades, with your accomplishments. Often, listen to this, without the awareness of some potential danger or effect. So that means you don't even know, you have no clue. This is what this tells me. You don't even know the potential danger you're in by not fulfilling the destiny that you see, not fulfilling the vision that you have. See, you don't even see the danger. You don't even know that you're in danger. And not only are you in danger, you are an endangered species. So there are some things that only can come through you. And the reason why people haven't accomplished or done certain things, everybody's saying in the marketplace that this is so saturated. Listen, it's 50,000 speakers, it's 50,000 authors, it's 50,000 publishers, it's 50,000 trainers, it's 50,000 financial consultants, it's 50,000 teachers, it's 50,000 business owners, it's 50,000 preachers and ministers and churches, and it's 50,000 models, and let me tell y'all something, but it's only one you and it's only one me. And the only way I can produce what I see is if I get a system of discipline to produce it. And oftentimes, and so that's what I had for today. I had those 4 C's that rob you of your ability to be self-disciplined and to produce what you see. So seeing is not believing. Do not be tricked. Do not believe it. Seeing is not believing. Seeing is revealing and confirming. When you put your belief system in place, that means you have a plan of action with execution to follow it up. You have continuity, which brings consistency. You do not lack in your consistency because you lack the spirit of competition, because you only know the rival is between you and your destiny. There is no comparison or greater, less than, or equal to. You do have a measuring stick, and that is, are you getting up every day and giving your best? Y'all see 50,000 lives every day. It's not going to stop me from doing one. Y'all see all kinds of things every day. And when we have the spirit of comparison, it robs you of your ability to produce and your ability to be consistent. Here is the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you this. Those 4 things, if you take a look at it, they all go back to the fear, time, and belief. And I told you that those are the top 3 things that will rob you of your ability to produce. Fear. People say false evidence appearing real. It is. However, some things we may not have the evidence, but we have the experience. And so the experiential knowledge will cause you to be fearful and afraid, because I've done this before. It didn't work out last time. So it's really not that it's false, it's that it's experiential knowledge that you have, or some things that you tried before. But guess what? The thing that you did before doesn't necessarily have to be when you learn from the lessons. You now take the lessons learned and you apply them to the current situation, and you say, this is how I avoid it. You don't want to be neutralized by that fear, because fear is saying I'm worried more about what possibly may happen than what I am actually doing. So you're more worried about the possibilities than your actual process. It's not stop worrying about the possibilities and put you a process in place. When you put a process in place, you have the ability to produce from that process. Then we talk about time. Let me tell you about time. Here, I don't have time. I cannot have, I just can't make it. I don't have time. We have time to do what we want to do. You have time to sit and watch Netflix. You have time to binge on Netflix. You have time to talk on the phone. You have time to do everything. You have to be able to develop a system where you are honoring and respecting your time. Stop disregarding your time. When you disregard your time, you're disrespecting the destiny that's on your life. You're disrespecting the vision that you see. You're disrespecting your plan of action to help produce the vision that you see. Because time, we say that's our most valued commodity. You can't get it again. You can't pay for it. It's beyond worth and value. But let me tell you, you act like it's worth less. The reason I say that is because if you value your time, you would introduce your vision, you would introduce your plan to your most valuable possession, or your most valuable commodity, which is your time. And the trick of the enemy is to keep you so busy that you don't have time to work on your destiny. You don't have time to work on what you see. You don't have time to lose weight. You don't have time to go to the gym. You don't have time to, work on your book. You don't have time to write. You don't have time to spend with your family. You don't have time to, work on a plan. You don't have time to go to a conference. You don't have time to develop yourself successfully. Let me tell you something. Your time is what you choose to do with it. You have to determine what level of discipline and what system of discipline are you going to have in place that's going to bring respect and regard to your time. And we let people disrespect and disregard our time often. Every time the phone rings, you don't have to answer it. Every time you get a notification, you don't have to look at it. We're going to have some strategies and solution in discipline and preparedness, the power of self-discipline. I'm telling you, if you think you're producing now, you will produce at a 10 times, meaning you will 10x. You will multiply whatever level you're operating in now, you will multiply that times 10. You'll multiply that times 10 in this 10x, this power of self-discipline. And so I just wanted to come on and share those 4 C's with you. And I want to give you some practical steps that's going to help you. Women that have already registered, I'm excited that you're going to be in the course room with me. I'm excited because what I'm going to do is help you move from where you are, not to be where I am, where you are. And one thing that we do, time is against us. We start off emotionally excited. We get all, ooh, I got a vision. Ooh, I got a dream. Let me tell you, I don't want to hear another vision and dream without a plan. I don't want to hear another, because when you are working with individuals who they have great vision but lack strategic vision, and when I'm working with men and women on how to bring it about, I get a lot of excuses. So I always listen to every excuse, and then I said, that's nice, that's cute, ooh, that's going to be amazing. Now what's your plan? And we work through a plan of execution, and we walk through how you can become more self-disciplined. So another thing is, and this is not to brag on me, but I just want to share a little bit about time. People say, well, how do you do what you do? And you have a family and you have children and they are involved in different activities and you have a husband and you do these things. It's because I have regard for my time. I don't do it from a place of perfection. I do it from a place of prioritization. And you have to learn to prioritize your time in such a way that you include your vision. Just like you plan to take your kids to gymnastics, cheerleading, football, track practice, just like you plan to go to work, just like you plan to go do everything else, you have to plan time to build out what it is that you're working on and what you see. Seeing is not believing. Planning is the highest form of faith that you can have. Listen, I gave you 4 C's on today to help you execute in a greater way. I hope that this helps someone. Don't forget, I will try to put in, if you go to corporatejewelpwc.com, that is where you can register for the Discipline to Preparedness, a 10-day self-discipline, the power to produce and self-discipline, or the power of self-discipline is corporatejewelpwc.com. And I'm telling you, you do not want to miss it. We're doing 10 days. And people will say, well, how did you get the 10 days? Let me tell you how I got the 10 days. And you know, I'll share this with you all too. I didn't plan on being on this long, but let me share something with you. This may help you all as it has helped me. I got the 10 days when I was reading. I was just studying in my devotion, and I was reading in the book of Daniel, and I was reading about Daniel and how when Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar had sent out his assistant to go out and get the young men that were well-groomed, handsome, and fit, and bring them in so that he could train them to work for him in the kingdom, right? In his kingdom, in his palace and everything, right? So as I was reading, we always talk about the Daniel fast. We always talk about Daniel in the lion's den. We talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And we always talk about them with their faith and their belief. But we also miss the system of discipline. See, there's a system of discipline that Daniel had. He told the king's assistant, he said, give me 10 days. Feed them what the king says, and feed me what, thank you, Sharon. That's my sister, y'all. Thank you. She's feed me, the vegetables and the beans and all that good stuff. And in 10 days, come back and compare, right? Well, check this out. When they came back in 10 days, the word of God says that they looked better than all the others in which they stood against. So what I'm trying to tell you is that all you need is a plan and a system in place where you are currently to actually 10x. It takes 10 days that you can utilize. And the Lord says use a 10x plan, not waiting 30 days. I used to do it for 30 days, and that's still 30 days of you being complacent, you being in a spirit of competition, you being in a spirit of comparison. And it's for us to go ahead and meet the need immediately so that you can produce from a place of purpose, so that you can eradicate that system of belief, that belief system that is affecting you from producing what you see in your dreams. Listen, I got it from the book of Daniel, really talking about discipline and how self-discipline not only brings you a process of producing, it also brings you clarity. See, when you have a vision, it allows you your vision. And I tell this in my strategy class. When you have a vision, it actually tells you what to do. It tells you everything to do. It gives you your recipe to produce. It tells you if you have a vision, you see something. Seeing is not believing. It now tells you what you see, tells you what to do. Your vision tells you what to do. Your vision doesn't tell you the steps. It gives you a glimpse of what you will look like in the future. So therefore, you have to now put in the steps. You have to put in the action. And I say that it brought Daniel clarity because it actually allowed his gift to be maximized. Many of us want our gifts to be maximized. We want the Lord to anoint us in such a way that he gives us oil that freely flows in our gifting, and that but what we're doing is we are not taking the time to produce it. And so Daniel took the time to produce it, and when he was able to utilize his gift of interpretation and interpreting the dreams of the king, he did it with such clarity. He did it with such a level of excellence. And if you have a system of discipline in place, you can produce from a place of excellence. And many of us lack clarity because we don't have a system of discipline. We lack clarity because we don't have a process in place. We're comparing and we're looking. So our head is always looking at what other people are doing. And then we have a competition that is driving us and is causing us to have mental warfare, spiritual warfare. And we don't even know how to fight spiritually in the place of warfare because we're too busy looking and not having a system. So I want you to join me on the Discipline and Preparedness Intensive 10 days to 10x your self-discipline and a strategy to help you produce from a place of power. If you're ready, join me. That's Dr. Kimberly Ellison. Listen, it is Corporate Jewel PWC. My sister Sharon has put it in the notes for me. Thank you. It's corporatejewelpwc.com. I'm going to come on every day. That's my plan, y'all. And so the plan is this. I wanted to bring you some things so you'll know what you'll be getting. It's difficult. I know it's difficult with the world of social media. It's difficult. My plan, when you hear me say, you always hear me talk about strategy, plan. The enemy tried to trick me to believe that what I taught and what the Lord had given me, the mantle he's given me to carry, was boring. And sometimes the enemy will trick you to believe that there's not value in what you have and what God has given you. And so he tricked me to believe that strategy and vision and discipline was boring because that's the dirty work. That's what people don't really want to do. And he says, but I've called you to do that. So we have deliverance. When you go into a place of being delivered, what I believe some of our churches have missed is the development piece. Some of our leaders have missed the development. And I don't know about you, but some of us have been delivered from some things, but you haven't been developed for that thing. And so I operate in a place of not only deliverance, but also development. And when the Lord revealed that to me, I can operate my business from a kingdom perspective, not caring if companies that are corporate, not caring if churches that don't have a kingdom system, a commonwealth system, if they want to have me there or not, because I have an assignment. And the thing is, discipline and vision, people are challenged in that. They are challenged in that. And so I'm coming alongside you and I'm going to help you produce from the hard place. I'm going to help you produce from the hard place. I get the dirty work. And I want you all to join me. Go to corporatejewelpwc.com if you haven't already. And I want you to join me, and we're going to produce from the hard place. We're going to come against some of those self-limiting beliefs, the thing that your childhood has engrafted in you and the experiences have taught you, and things of basic things we're going to walk through when you talk about why do you celebrate things or why do you do not. And I'll tell you this is probably a long live, but it'll be all right. One of the things I wanted to tell you, just even in the spirit of transparency, I still practice because I used to wouldn't celebrate things. I would not celebrate because when I celebrate, I felt like it broke my system. When celebration is a part of your system, celebrating what the Lord has allowed you to complete, the assignments that he's giving you, the milestones. And so I wouldn't celebrate because everything for me is an assignment, truly. Like every speaking engagement, every corporate event, every corporate client, every training, every book that I produce, every book I write, every book that I publish, whatever the Lord has given me to do, it's an assignment. So once I complete that assignment, I move on to the next place. And that's not always healthy because you are not having an opportunity to celebrate. So I want to share with some of you all, don't allow the enemy to come in and say, what you're doing is not worth it. You're more than worth it. It is valuable. I have consults, brand consults, business consults with potential clients and those who just consult with me. And they'll come on board and they want to know if something is valuable, if it'll be used in the marketplace. Will people want it? If God gave it to you, it's beyond valuable. All right. So I'm going to get off because I came on to talk about comparison, competition, consistency, and complacency. We've done that. But I want you to go to corporatejewelpwc.com, and I would love for you to share this live. I would love for you to encourage those if you are struggling. I don't care what level you are. If you're an executive of a whole company, I don't care if you're a VP. I don't care if you are hospitality. I don't care if you're customer service. I don't care what it is. You need to be in this class to produce from the place that you see. Seeing is not believing. Seeing is revealing and confirming. And I need you all, again, to work from the hard place. All right. Well, it is about that time. That's it. Yes. Hey, Pam. Hey, Carl. Yes. Hey, Dr. Inga. Yes, ma'am. That is it. Hi, Tanya. That's producing from the hard place. Do you all have any questions about self-discipline? Let's talk a little bit. Hey, Cassandra. Let's talk about that. Hey, Nicole. Oh, she said she done. Oh, you registered. How exciting. I can't wait. I'm telling you, we have women who've already registered. But let's do some questions. Let's talk. Let's create some dialogue around what's your challenge with being self-disciplined? What's the biggest thing and the challenges that you face with being self-disciplined? I don't care if it's with your business, if it's with your weight, if it's with being disciplined with writing your book, if it's disciplined with you just taking care of yourself. Self-discipline runs in all aspects. Are you self-disciplined in your education? What is it like pursuing your goals? Where is it that you are challenged with self-discipline? And so we can talk about that and create dialogue. But this July 8th, we're going to kick it off hard and strong. Sticking to a schedule and time management. That, Gloria, yes, that is a lot of, again, I talked about that a little bit, but yeah, most of us struggle with the schedule and time management because life hands us different things. And so when you think about it, sticking to a schedule and time management, you want to make sure that you do time blocking. I'm big on time blocking, and not just time blocking. You also, I didn't create the time blocking, but I do have prioritization. Don't worry about balance. What is priority? What's low, medium, and high? That if you do it today, or if you don't do it today, that it's going to cause an effect, a ripple effect in your business, in your professional life, in your church, in your ministry. So I always prioritize what it is that I have to do and what are those things that are low, medium, and high. I stick with that. That has been a proven strategy. I've shared that with clients. It has proven. So what you actually do when you talk about scheduling and time management, you're going to have to time block, and then you're also going to have to prioritize what you blocked in. Okay, so that's one thing. And then you're going to have to practice. We talked about consistency. That's continuity. That means what you see and what you believe now has continuity. You believe more in doing and bringing to pass what you see than just what you see. Because most people just get excited about what they see. They get excited about the vision, but they don't believe enough to produce it. Let me know if that helps you, but you want to prioritize low, medium, and high. What are those things? You know, things are gonna come in. I also have contingency. If it's a low thing, and I always start with quick wins. I always do quick things first. If I have a quick win, those little low-hanging fruit, you want to get those already done. Those follow-up emails, those checkpoints, whatever it is, you want to do that. And get those done first. So let me know, Gloria, if that helped. And then Sarah from Canada, she's joining us. She says, how do you overcome the lack of self-discipline? So Sarah, when we talk about, you join in if you can on the DMPI, we're going to talk about that. But there are several things, and we have to get to the root of why your self-discipline system is not working. Self-discipline is a system. And so when you're self-disciplined, when your system is messed up, we have to figure out what it is. And the top three things are mostly fear, time, and belief. And once we deal with the fear, once we deal with time and how you need to honor your time, how you need to respect and have regard for your time, then you want to be able to see when you respect something and you hold it in high regard, you don't devalue it. You utilize it to its highest and best form. And so we want to talk about what does that look like. So Sarah, we actually get down to the root, and that's going to help you overcome that self-discipline. I always say if you are not producing from the vision and you don't have a consistency, that means you're disregarding your unilateral covenant with God. See, we have a unilateral covenant, and the unilateral covenant is not something we have a choice. That's the purpose thing. That's the destiny thing that you have been assigned. So when you have a unilateral covenant, the unilateral covenant says, and let me give you an example of a unilateral covenant for those of you who may not know. A unilateral covenant, when you talk about, hold on, okay. The unilateral covenant is just as God had given the mantle to Moses to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt. That's a unilateral covenant. Moses didn't have a choice. When God gave the covenant to Mary to carry Jesus. That's a unilateral covenant. She didn't have a choice. See, so when you are walking in purpose, or you have a vision, or you have you give your vision goals, or you know what you want to do and you have a dream, then to me, that is your unilateral covenant. You don't have a choice. So Susan, when you see the importance of what your assignment, you don't have a choice not to have time. And you are disregarding the covenant that you've been given to carry. So I want you all to know, without sounding all churchy, all deep, I'm just letting you know from a principle perspective, from a destiny perspective, and then from a purpose perspective, even practical. So for those of you who may not be believers, who may not, go to church or believe in religion, even from a practicality perspective, when you have a dream, that dream belongs to you, and you have a responsibility to bring that dream to reality. And when you do not, you now disregard what you were created to do. That, and some believers, is purpose, but some people say, this is just what I was created to do. However you want to, your language, however you want to use it. But from what my belief is and what I teach, is we have a purpose and a destiny. So let me know, Susan, if that helped. Again, the unilateral covenant that you have has been given to you. It's the mantle that you carry. You don't have a choice. And when you disrespect the time and say, I don't have time, what you're telling God is you chose wrong. You gave the wrong person this mantle. You gave the wrong person this assignment. Okay. So I think we had another question. Nicole said, time management and prioritization. So we'll cover that as well. That's it. Managing that time. That's the biggest thing, because we think we can balance it. Can't balance it. We have to prioritize it. And some priorities get moved and shifted. And we also, listen, if you are not, I know this sounds cliche, but if you're not writing things down, you are not being as productive. You're not being as productive as you can be. Writing things down. Writing down a full plan of action and execution of what you need to do. No matter what a short pencil is greater than a memory, a long memory. So even if you have a short pencil, it's greater than the longest memory, because at some point in time, you may forget. And so I want you to understand that. What other questions? Any other questions? How do you know what your destiny is? Hey, Susan. When we talk about destiny, I always talk about destiny as a destination. So it's really about what it is that, and it's simple. When I always tell people, go back to what it is that you love to do. When you were a child, what did you do? I always say, my children are waking up now. I always say, go back to what you were created to do. And that means what are those things that you truly enjoy? What are those things that, and another thing, what you love to do and what you hate to do. So Susan, always, when I'm in my classes, I teach, what is it that you love to do? What is it that you love seeing people do and accomplish? What is it that you love? And then what is it that bothers you the most? What is it that just gets under your skin? Because when you think about destiny and purpose, your purpose is the thing that you love, but it's also the thing that you hate. I love to see people grow and develop. I love learning. I love knowledge. I love seeing people go from potential to achievement. I love being in the classroom, and I love teaching people how to really live out their purpose and their business plans. And I love that. But let me tell you what else I don't like. I hate when people don't do it. I hate when I see someone not maximizing their potential. I hate when I see someone that does not have a plan of action to produce, and they don't see the value in what. So that, Susan, if that helps at all, the thing you love, and try to think about that as you go throughout your day. Pray about what it is, and then start thinking about, and that's a part of your destiny. That is it. Your purpose is the thing you love and the thing you hate. And so let me know if that helps, Suzanne. And if not, we can take it offline as well. But let me know. that's typically what I teach from, and then from a biblical standpoint, but also that's a practical thing, the thing that you love and the thing that you hate. So what's the next question? Let me know, Suzanne, if that helps. How do you overcome letting yourself off the hook? That's guilt. Y'all, my son is now up and he's wanting me to open stuff for him. Okay. There we go. So we'll talk about that as well, but you letting yourself off the hook. Well, again, that is no condemnation. We walk from conviction, but let me tell you this. When you have to let yourself off the hook, that means you typically, most of the time, women, we don't forgive ourselves. Always say, I can't get an A in everything. And so I started to start saying, today I may not get an A plus or a 100, but I'll get an A minus. And then if I get a B, that's okay too, because I'm still passing. So you have to, again, that low, medium, and high. And then another thing I learned from Cynthia Marshall, I went to Women That Are Loosed last year. And one thing I learned, that she said there was something called crystal balls and rubber balls. And this helped me a lot as a mom, as a wife, a business owner, just in my life. She said there's rubber balls and crystal balls. Those things that you can drop and bounce back from, then that's a rubber ball, and you let yourself off the hook a lot quicker. But those things that are crystal balls, those things that are highly valuable, those different events or assignments or activities or things that you have to get accomplished that are crystal balls, if you drop them, they'll break, and they're very difficult to recover from. So that can also be included in your mindset on how you approach your priorities when you talk about low, medium, and high. So Gloria, I hope that helps on how do you overcome letting yourself off the hook. And and everything is not weighted the same. And so we want to be able to know what's important, what's critical. When you go to the hospital, those individuals that walk into the hospital that have chest pains, that have difficulty breathing, those individuals that have a physical wound that is an open wound that's bleeding, they get to be seen first. You could be in the emergency room for 8 hours waiting. If somebody comes through that door and they have shortness of breath, chest pains, they're going to skip the line and they will be seen immediately. And that's the same way you have to actually look at what are those assignments, what are you putting in your schedule, how are you prioritizing your time. That works for career professionals, business professionals, dads, moms, families, and friends. You have to be able to say what is critical, what is emergency, and then what are those things that can wait, what needs to be in the waiting room, and what needs to get seen, who needs to get seen first. And that's how I believe when you prioritize what that's going to do. All right, so hopefully that helped you. Let me know, Gloria. And Shamil said, I've never wanted to move outside of God's timing. How do you truly know that it's your time to move forward to leadership? So the biggest, when you think about and that's one of I struggle with that as well. But what I've learned is the more time I spend with him, the less time I struggle. The more time I actually spend in committing myself to my devotion, my prayers, and being open to not just my belief system of, when I say my belief system, I'm talking about my limiting beliefs of, oh my God, this may not be the right time. Oh my gosh. So the more time I spend with, in prayer, and the more time I am open, it opens the possibilities. I do believe, in the law of attraction, and people say it's not biblical. It is. It says, so a man thinketh, so is he. So when you start to think about those opportunities and you open up your faith and your belief system to attract those things. So as long as you keep saying, oh, I'm not ready, then you're not going to be ready. But as long as you say, Lord, I'm open to whatever it is, this leadership opportunity. Let me share something with you. In the Word of God, in Ephesians 3:20, it says, He'll give you above all, exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask and think, according to His Son in Christ Jesus, right? Okay, so when you think about exceedingly abundantly, that means you have no clue how He's going to bless you. So, Shamil, I'm saying that right, Shamil? I'm just letting you know that you have to be open to the possibility. You have to spend more time in His presence, and then you have to produce. I wrote this post one day. I said, Lord, thank you for the patience to wait on the promise, but also the persistence to pursue my destiny. What that means is, I don't want to move outside of your will, but I know that your will includes me to move. And so you still have to put those things in place. Or if you're saying He wants you to move into leadership, are you taking leadership courses, practical things? Are you learning from a mentor, practical things? Are you, and those opportunities will begin to find you. That's my belief. You have to know, if you know that He's gonna move you into leadership, He ain't moving you in leadership if you ain't moving at all. Be patient enough for the promise, but also persistent enough to pursue the purpose. And so let me know if you're still watching, Shamil, if that helped at all. So yes, I'm telling you, I've had a good time this morning. I know I have a conference call now. So let me go ahead and jump off and get on to my conference call this morning. And I hope this helped you. I hope I'll see you in Discipline and Preparedness. It's www.corporatejewelpwc.com. I've enjoyed you all this morning, and I'm going to jump on my conference call because I'm practicing discipline. All righty, y'all have a good one.